Hello and welcome to the world of Minia podcast, where we follow the tale of a group of college adventurers learning their trade in the classroom and real world at once. I am Dungeon Master Menvale. Our journey continues into the party's plans ahead of the solstice. So now let us return to the world of Ravinia. All right, welcome back, everybody. So when we left off, you guys had met up with everyone and seen the caravan of bugbears, orcs, goblins, and their human leader advisor coming to visit for a tour of the campus. Uh, some of you that were around back at the beginning recalled events very similar to this, to the events that you saw inside the fire in the dream world. You took out trying to figure out who you could talk to about these matters and broke off into finding different groups. Group A went to the library. Group B went to go see Miss Fawnhopper. Miss Fawnhopper arranged to have you return, which is where we pick up at. So, 6 p.m. sharp, you arrive just as Miss Fawnhopper is to be locking up the admin building to the public. Apparently, Saul and Zin are both there. As she's locking up, she simply looks and says, "Perfect timing, my dear," and spots in, "Dears, let's go for a little walk." And she takes you both by the hand and leads you off into the woods to the west of the building. About 15-minute walk out into the woods. Into the thick of it, she goes up to a large oak tree and casts a spell, and you see a portal open on the tree. On the other side, you both see the very familiar sitting area inside of her room in the admin building.
Well, I make myself at home. I'm very
Yeah,
comfortable in her presence, so I take a
yeah,
seat and I gesture for her to follow me eagerly.
okay.
Um,
Yep, so you all step through. She closes the portal and with a wry smile turns to you. "Now, sadly, I won't be able to return you that way until I rest. However, I am not very tired at the moment. Would you like something to eat or drink as we talk?"
Yes, please.
Miss Von Hopper, yeah, we would be pleasure to have refreshments with you.
She goes and you both have been here before, but you do notice a few things. Uh, the layout has changed slightly. There looks to be another room now that she's added to her living quarters that goes off to the right of the sitting area. She disappears into Zin, what you are familiar with as the kitchen area, and she returns with a tray of various fruits, uh, 2 bottles of wine, 3 glasses, and some whipped cream looking concoction. Lays them out on the table and says, "Now, do tell me what it was you were wishing to discuss now that we are safe from prying ears," as she dips a fried strawberry in the cream and bites into it.
Uh, okay. Um, um, Soul will partake in the refreshments she laid out, and between fully chewed bites, she explains how, well, Miss Faunhopper, when we first entered the college, or at least the majority party first entered the college, there was an odd experience we shared that brought rise to some suspicions regarding the current activities of the college. In particular, Lord Kregel, his wagons and the symbol of his house featured in the dream that we shared at that time. So, as we discussed the situation as a group, and well, we think there's some suspicions that we want to bring up, and we just wanted to discuss the possibility of taking some countermeasures regarding the situation. We can discuss this more fully during the meeting. But was gardening Kate, or
Would what?
so there was there was Tobias, Miss Faunhopper, and then the guard that we want to talk to. I forget her name. I just know it starts with a K.
Oh, Karen.
Karen, that's it. So we want to set up a meeting with you, Tobias, and Karen to potentially head off some dangers before they can fully take root in this college.
She slides her plate away for a second as she thinks over your words here. I believe that something can be arranged. I will see. Why specifically those individuals? I understand
Well,
Tobias.
um, why did we include Karen again? I forget.
Oh, I think because they're three worshippers of the Maiden of Bliss. And I thought that the specifics of how she presented to us might ring to them. It's also suggested to me
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and it gave me a sense that we could trust the three of them because they sort of all kind of worshipped her in particular.
Oh, and because the Maiden of Bliss was the responsible for a majority of that dream, right?
Yeah, and so if it was my sense
Are
that if
you, are you including that detail in what you're telling Miss Faunhopper?
The Maiden of Bliss, you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm just repeating to
No,
Saul
I meant
what
Saul.
Saul heard.
Well, now that I've actually, yeah, I would have at this point, I would have included, since she asked for the reason why the three of them. So I would have mentioned, Soul would have said something about how all three of them are worshippers, and thus we have reason to believe that they shouldn't be not beyond suspicion, but at least trustworthy in this matter.
She takes it. We'll say recount like in detail all of a little bit more than what you might have shared in previous times in innuendos and half truths, recounting a little more of what you remember from the two dreams, what you have seen or been shared to by your fellow party members of the group that, from what you've seen of the group that has arrived here. So that takes a little bit longer than 15 minutes to recount 3 days worth of stuff. All right.
Yeah, that would have.
By the time you're done, she is thoroughly now invested in what exactly you're saying, and it will be easy to speak with Tobias. As for the others, okay, so there's Tobias, Karen, and was there someone else?
No, just Tobias, Karen, and Miss Fawnhopper.
And Miss Fawn. Oh, and she is the third person. Okay. I will do what's necessary to consult with them and arrange a proper meeting. If you want to come see me tomorrow afternoon around 3 o'clock, at my desk, there should be an opportunity to provide what I've been able to arrange at that time. I may look into giving your particular selection process. I will look into 1 or 2 other individuals I think might be of assistance as well.
Well, I certainly trust your judgment, Miss Fawnhopper. Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome, and I
Zin, do you
certainly
have
feel that more eyes and ears are better than fewer in this situation. What were you going to say?
I just wanted to know if Zin had anything to add since she came along.
No, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. I'll just sit there as emotional support, sipping on the wine. But I thought there was actually, sorry, I thought we were supposed to question a guard or something. There was Karen,
You mean
Tobias.
Karen?
Oh, Karen is the guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karen Turner.
Okay.
That was the one. I believe you ran into the woods when Soren basically walked away from Mara, and she ran off like a banshee into the woods after Saul disguised as a man.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Karen was the one who basically played Peacemaker.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I just started taking notes again, so
Karen
forgive
also
me.
was the one who caught you and Saul sneaking back the last time you went to go see Miss Fawnhopper.
Oh.
And sort of helped you sneak back into the dorms as understanding of, well, you are of that age.
Oh, okay. So she's a cool one. Got it.
Oh. She's the one we pulled the "we're dating" on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
God. That's funny.
Then we gotta keep the act up around her.
Oh,
Well, that was 2 months ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know.
if she remembers us, it'd be a bad thing. So, like, don't act too unfamiliar with me in the meeting, man.
We'll just hold hands. It's fine. We'll keep it PG.
We don't have to be that much, but let's sit next to each other.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Oh, God. I made a huge mistake looking at the Discord.
Oh, now we're
Oh,
just going too
dear
far.
Lord, have mercy. You know, it's the sad part when he said whipped cream. That's kind of what I what I thought of too. Oh, you guys stop hanging out.
I am not even going. I can see the name of it. I am not going to that one. She will just turn to both of you. I am not sure if this is enough. Would either of you care for anything stronger? As she takes
Well,
the one bottle
don't
of wine
mind.
and sets it down. And she comes back with a bottle of brandy and a bottle of whiskey. And three shot
I give
glasses.
Zin a look. I give Zin a look. I raise an eyebrow, and I sort of like slightly tilt my head over to Miss Hopper. I let her take the choice on this.
You're giving me a charge on this?
Like, should we stay or should we?
But you don't really have a way out of here until.
Yeah, but it's also like
I
it's like a look, a suggestive look.
Like, should we stay? Should we go? Like,
It's
I just
more
kind
like
of
I'm trying to like convince you, basically.
to stay or go. That's what I'm asking. Oh, screw it. I'm just gonna grab a shot glass and then be like, oh, I guess we can stay for a couple.
Well, Soul immediately joins in.
Miss Von Hopper pours herself a shot of whiskey that looks more like a double and just shoots it back. And it's just processing everything that you have just told her. That you have literally met her god.
Oh, I see.
Who gave you a divine vision of basically the village overrun with death.
I think Zin's gonna kind of look at Miss Von Hopper, see that she's kind of uneasy, and just ask her if there's any other questions that she may have. Like, are you gonna be okay?
Pours herself another shot and downs it. Just steadies herself a minute. And I will be fine. Myself and Tobias and a dear old friend once tried to commune with the maiden. Unsuccessful at the time. To hear that the two of you and she just thinks over the members of your party. Your comrades were inclined to be graced in her presence.
The workings of gods are mysterious to all. Take it not as a part of your of a failure on your part that you weren't able to successfully communicate. Instead, wonder perhaps you were not meant to meet her at that time. Instead, you were meant to meet her now. We all serve the gods in different ways.
Indeed true. And she grabs the brandy and pours herself a glass of it. And oh, where are my manners? I am being a terrible hostess. Is there anything more I can do for you two?
Uh, is that said with a suggestive thing, like she wants sex right now or not? Or is she just like literally just asking and she wants to be alone? Because I can't read her right now
Make
from
an
your voice.
insight check.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, sweet.
it's not really said with a suggestive tone, but it doesn't seem off put. I think she's literally just trying to figure out if there's. She doesn't want to basically move on from this topic and have you just, oh, that's right, I forgot all about this incredibly, horribly more, even worse thing that I forgot to mention like an hour ago. It seems
Do
like
we
she's
have
almost.
anything else to mention?
I don't know. That's basically she's just. You just layered on a lot on top of a lot on top of a lot, and she's just okay. Before we discuss anything else, before I give any insight here, is this literally everything, or
This is everything then.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the matter we want to speak with. It's a lot, but we got it out all at once.
Okay. She takes another sip of her brandy, downs another double of whiskey. uh, if you'll excuse me for a moment, and she simply steps off down the new hallway that you haven't seen before. Anything you two are
Does
discussing
she
while she's out of the room?
does she want us to follow? Or
She did not say to. She simply said that she'd be back in a moment.
okay. Then I asked Zin how she thought how well do you think this went?
I think she's a little shell shocked still, to say the least. But getting her involved in her opinion with talking with everybody else, I feel like it's a, you know, a good thing.
All right. So yeah, about 15 minutes later, 15, make sure that's emphasized. uh, she returns, no longer in her work attire, but wearing a camisole that looks like it's made of see-through leaves. Ladies, if we could move on to happier topics by chance, I have a wonderful new room I'd like to show you.
Well,
Sounds good to me.
yeah,
And she
we
takes
get up
you
and follow her.
down her new hallway here. You enter. You look upon this new room that's in her thing, and the only thing that could come to mind is this is something out of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Oh.
We do have, and you see her contemplating the time. At least 10 to 12 hours to kill. less a brief respite to prepare to return you to. Uh, my safe word is bunny ears.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna look at
Soul tries to steps in and tries to take pretend she's familiar with the tools inside and says, "Well, I'll certainly remember that."
All right. So just shy of 5 hours later,
Okay.
the three of you relaxing back in the sitting area with some water. Ms. Faunhopper simply states, "Thank you for providing an escape from the thoughts that you had brought onto this day. Uh,
It was our
if you will,
pleasure, Miss Faunhopper.
if you will excuse me,
Our
my
mutual pleasure.
time to trance, I suggest you both do the same, and I will see that you are returned promptly to where we entered from. Uh, that said, when you return to the Great Oak, when you return to the large oak tree, do not come back the way we came. You will want to cut closer south towards the dorms. Uh, between the guard cycles and who will be on duty for the northern portion, do not exit the woods until you are south of the dorm building.
Understood. Thank you for the directions and the pleasant evening. Have a nice trance.
You as well. All right. You get through your trance. Uh, get up at 5 a.m. She makes you both something to eat, little breakfast, eggs, toast, and fruit. Goes up to her vine wall and simply asks, "Are you ready?"
Yes.
Yeah.
And she will simply state, uh, "Miss Riviera, I do come again by my office today at 3. I will have spoken to the individuals and be able to provide confirmation on when and where we can meet." All right.
Perfect.
So she casts her spell. Once again, the portal opens. You see the woodlands that you came out from. You both step through the portal and it closes behind you. Where are you heading?
Uh,
At 6 a.m.
cut closer
Is
to the
there
south of the door.
like are we just
Sorry, go.
meeting the group? I mean,
Uh,
we could sit down somewhere and just continue reading our books until it's time to meet with the group.
okay.
Yeah, but if we just went through the large oak tree, don't we have to go back to the dorms first? And she made it like very clear to cut closer to the south of the dorms and don't exit
Well, yeah, but I
before
figured
school
we
and stuff.
I figured we followed her directions, and now we're discussing what to do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, if you're cutting to the south, back around to the side of the dorms, it takes you about 15 to get back up to the dorms. You see, 6 a.m. There are a number of students. You see exiting the dorms to go out for their morning activities. Most of them you see brandishing the crests of the Soundboard, the Eye, or the Stormlord that are getting up at this time. Along with a few others that would slowly begin to trickle out around this time just because they have classes that start early or wanting to get to the library or get food first. With your party, Quark, Gargan, and possibly Andrakei, you know, would be up and out probably by 8. The rest of your party probably wouldn't be out until usually getting over to the dining hall until more like 9. Well, 8:30. So you can either go to your rooms or go to the dining hall and wait for them, which will be about another hour and a half to 2 hours.
I would say Zen would probably want to go and freshen up from the nightly activities and then meet them in the mess hall.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Zen has a good idea. I'll do that too.
All right. So we'll say 45 minutes. It'll be 15 minutes travel time. This gives you 30 minutes to go get straightened up. So if I can have you roll a d20 for me.
Okay.
All right. And roll a d8 for me.
Okay. Oh, I hope that's not a bad one.
Roll again.
That's much better, but I don't know if that's.
Oh. Throughout the women's bath, you hear rumblings of discussions here and there in the background. One topic that continues to come up is some people discussing it as a human regime that is now ever present in Longtier, and a number of the individuals basically saying, yeah, that's Lord Craigle. and that's why they're here. Basically, the ever-running gossip mill just seems to be going on and on about their impressions of what's going on with why they're here.
Repeat the people around.
What was that?
Just repeat who are the people talking again.
Just some of the others that are there bathing. Seems to be just idle chatter. Normal morning, just, oh, how are you doing? What are your plans for the day stuff? But amidst that, you catch a few rumblings of pieces of conversations of your ever present trying to detect what's going on around you, rumors. And the only consistent thing you're hearing about is this chatter that a number of people that were discussing this in general, and then others saying, yeah, who do you think's here now?
Oh, why Mr. Craggle is here? Okay, Lord
Yes,
Craggle's here.
that he is this rising power in the nation of Longtier.
Then Soul would ask around a bit more about him and see what everyone else thinks. Ask for more details about Lord Craggle and see if anyone knows anything particularly different from what she knows. Not like interrogatively, but just like casually asking around. Like she's trying to she's trying to give
Sure.
the impression that she wants gossip.
Give me a history New Hope check.
Okay.
Uh,
I am rolling well tonight.
they are, with your question and trying to guide it towards some details, the only thing that they can really share is Lord Craigle was his entire family, the Craigle family, moved to Longtier about a full generation ago, when he was just a child, when he was literally just a newborn infant. And it was around the time that the college started recruiting in Longtier for new students, which has led to the increased populace of orcs, half-orcs, and goblins on campus beyond what it would have been in previous generations.
Beyond what would have been in previous generations?
Beyond the number that you would have seen on the campus in, say, 50, 60, 75 years ago, there would have been fewer orcs by comparison than there are now. Orcs, goblins, half-orcs would have been in a much smaller number than the numbers of them that you see now. And that's because a large portion of them are actually coming from Longtier, not from within New Hope.
So there's like so non-humanoids are being, or rather, non. I don't know how to describe this. But basically, there's some sort of racial discrimination going on.
Well, it's Long Tier
We
is a
just said-
nation of orcs, goblins, and bugbears. Like 95% of it is orcs, goblins, and bugbears. And the college
Oh, okay. That
previously
explains
was not really
a lot more.
previously it was not really recruiting in Long Tier. And in the last 50 to 75 years is when they've really started to ramp up and recruit outside. For the longest time, they were really only recruiting within New Hope. And in fact, probably the first 30 years of the college, probably 95% of the attendees all came from Alrezen. Because they were new startup and they didn't really have a means to draw in the word from other places. But as you know from your party, even while you and Quark are from New Hope, your entire rest of your party traveled vast distances to get here.
Okay. All right, that's news. I make a mental note to share this information with the party when we meet up, but otherwise, I don't try to dig too much more into this.
Okay. All right. After that, you guys pack up, get ready, get over to the dining hall. 7 a.m. Is any of the other party members there by 7 a.m.?
Most likely me. I'm usually one of the first ones up.
I was going to say you and probably Quark.
Yeah, we tend to go to bed pretty much around the same time, get up about the same time.
You guys both get up at like the crack of dawn.
Indeed.
Well, it's been because most of my classes were really early in the morning.
Okay. So yeah, the two when you two get there, you do see Gargan and Quark are already at the table with their food. Not sure how hungry the two of you are, since you already had breakfast.
That was in Drakei, by the way, not.
Oh, and Drakei, sorry. And Drakei and Quark. Saul and Zin, I'm not sure how hungry you are considering you already had breakfast, so are you getting food or are you just going over to the table?
I'd probably just grab coffee and go sit with the rest of the group.
Okay. All right. So yeah, sit down. 4 of you are there. About 30 minutes later, Garging comes in the door. Followed shortly thereafter by Zin and Vincent. So yeah, we'll say by 7:45, everybody's there and has their food. For you to share any details that you wish about what you learned from either side of this investigation.
So I would probably tell the party that we went and had the meeting with Ms. Von Hopper.
Is that what we're calling it?
And just say that later on today at 3 p.m., we do have to go and see her again to get more information about sitting down. I guess she wants to add a couple more individuals to speaking with them about. So we have to go see her again at 3 p.m. today.
Okay. I would probably tell everybody about me meeting that guard in the library. And that he seemed to know something about my mother's clan. Yeah, clan, right. That he didn't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Would recognize the
Pendant.
meaning behind your pendant.
Yeah. So he might he might know more. And he didn't seem like a bad guy. But it was only like what, an hour conversation we had?
Maybe, if that. It was like, somewhere between half hour to an hour.
I'd probably say if I see him again, I'd try and talk to him, maybe subtly get some information about the area that he's from or why they're there.
He was a guard or an officer?
Believe he was he an officer or a guard? I believe he was just a guard. Didn't have any rank on him.
Didn't have any rank. Did not even have the ranking of a guard marked on him. There were a number of just what would be called attendees as well to Lord Craigle, as well as some of the senior members of his contingent, which would be more like squires, to be a comparable term.
Oh, so he's more considered a squire than anything.
Yeah, he's more of, he goes and gets the bags. He goes and...
Yeah, because he was close to, like, my age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was pretty young, so if I can maybe befriend him, I might be able to get some information.
That sounds like it would be useful.
Oh, pretty much, while I'm around the school, I'd be keeping my eye out for him.
Okay.
To maybe, if I can, have another one-on-one with him.
Yeah. About the only new thing I have is during the break, I've arranged to go home to see my parents. And I know we usually travel in groups, but I think I'm just going to, go home alone. I mean, unless Saul wants to join me, seeing as we're both from...
Actually, this is a good question for me. So I pretty much ran away from home at some point, but like, are my parents still in Misty Oak or?
You didn't actually ask. The last, anytime you've been there, you have not really gone to look for them. Even when you went to the bar, you only dealt with the people who had a negative view of you, in which led to your leaving.
So
you
Misty,
haven't actually spoke
Yeah, but I
to
also
family.
tricked them. I also tricked them into realizing, hey, it's not my fault. It's like, you managed your property wrong. But like, so Soul is pretty free spirited. It's like, and also elves have long lives. The separation of a couple years isn't really a long time for her. She doesn't miss them, just quite like
I was going to say,
for
yeah, Misty Oak.
contextual reasons.
Yeah, Misty
It's
Oak's
like,
not
are they
your
still
home;
there?
it's your residence.
So like, but for contextual reasons, are my parents still in Misty Oak?
When you left there about 25 years ago, they were. You did not inquire as to if they still live there in any of your trips there. And you didn't really actually keep touch with them when you fled. So it's been about
So then
25 years since you've spoken to your family.
about 5 years?
25.
25 years. Okay. Then yeah, at this, I think I'd visit for a short period of time at this point, if that was the case.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to be going home starting on the 26th. I'm going to be arranging for a horse later on this morning, and I also have to send off a letter to my mom saying that I'm going to be coming home. So if you want to join me and we can arrange for 2 horses, that's fine.
All right. Yeah. I'll also when I go to make the meeting with Miss Fawnhopper at 3 o'clock, I'll just ask for also leave that time.
Okay.
For the date time, what days? I need to look at the calendar. Give me a second.
It's the 16th.
It's the 16th, and when up until when is the vacation?
Well, I made arrangements for the 26th to the 30th.
Yeah, the solstice is the 20th, which everyone is required to attend the event of the solstice. So your break technically begins on the 21st, and you return to classes. You're due back at the school technically on the 5th.
Yeah, then the 26th and 30th sounds fine. I'll go with the same time it's Quark. Travel there and back together.
Okay.
So Gargan listens to Saul's story very carefully, sees the bags under her eyes, makes a little friendly smile, and decides not to cast
She got
detect
a proper
thoughts.
rest.
But he decides not to cast detect thoughts. And he
But
tells the party
Fargo,
about
she got a proper rest.
and he tells about the meeting with Tiny for, I think it was sort of that late afternoon today, right?
Yes.
In the woods west of the Druid Circle, and I kind of ask if anybody wants to join me. I'd probably like to have a buddy or two to go to that.
About what time?
It's about the time that we met her at the library. So she said around this time tomorrow by the woods west of the Druid Circle, and so I think
So it was late afternoon then?
I think it was late afternoon, early evening, right? Like near,
Yeah,
obviously when the library was still open.
That's fine. I'll join you.
That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would have been around 4. Wasn't quite late afternoon yet.
All right, 4 it is.
Side note, the letter's already in my journal.
Okay. All right. I'll get to that after this.
Yeah, that's fine.
Send me a reminder in Discord, possibly like as a DM.
Mm-hmm.
Just so I remember to grab it. All right. So yeah, you guys converse, share around the details. So Saul will be going to find out the details for the meeting at 3. What are your plans after that? Obviously, Quark and Gargan will be going to meet Tiny at 4.
Vincent's going to be keeping an eye on the guests and seeing what they're on about. Maybe if they're having any sort of powwows, he might try to spy on that.
Okay.
Enrique would probably just go about his normal day by keeping an eye out for If there's any, besides the guard that he met, or, well, Squire, sorry, if there's anybody else that he could probably talk to from the group.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, is there any plans you're making to meet back up after the meeting at 3 and at 4?
Probably say that we'd meet up for our dinner like usual, right?
At what
Yeah.
time?
Question is, do we want to discuss this in the cafeteria?
Well, we can go to an area where there's no students and discuss it, but the meeting point would be dinner, right?
Pretty much.
Which is usually we tend to get there about 5 or 6, I think.
That's going to be later than that because we're going up to the Druid Circle.
Oh, so about what, 7?
Yeah. The Druid Circle is only about 15 minutes north of the campus.
Right, but who knows how long the discussion's going to be.
This
True.
is fair.
So, but okay, so 15 minutes travel, 15 minutes travel back, an extra 5 to get over to the dining hall. You would still have, if the conversation took an hour, you'd be back at the dining hall by 5:30. And if it took less, you'd be back there sooner.
Okay.
So what
7
time?
o'clock to meet? Like those of us that aren't having a meeting, I would suggest maybe meeting up at the mess hall for 7 and just wait around for the rest of the party. Does that sound logical to everybody, or?
Yep, sounds good.
Makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
Okay.
So other than that, just classes for
Yeah. So you guys will
morning.
have your classes to attend to.
Okay, so just before classes, I'm actually going to go to the quartermaster, book the horse, and send off my letter.
Okay.
And I mentioned to Saul that if during the conversation with Karen it sounds appropriate, you could potentially tell her that we're planning to meet with Tiny, and whether or not there's be valuable for communication between them as far as guard and security guard and all that, because not sure yet what plan to make with Tiny until you have that meeting with the leaders. But I'll at the least arrange to meet him again and to sort of let him start thinking about it.
Okay. So yeah, so Quark, so you're booking 2 horses then?
Might as well.
Okay. I figure you can probably get the money for souls in the meantime after, but yeah, it'll run you
It'll be for 5 days.
5 days. You've actually returned a horse in good standing. He's going to ask who the other horse is for.
It's for Saul the elf.
He'll give you an offer of 7 gold, and we call it a day.
Sounds fair.
Okay. And I'll take that off your sheet. All right. All right, so that gets us up to...
I'd rather not barter so soon after a mishap.
Oh, I was off on my math. Okay, 2 more. All right. Vincent and Andrakii, I need both of you to give me perception checks. Oh, and I'll roll one for Soren as well.
Oh,
Yep, very perceptive.
Is perception wisdom?
Yes.
Gargan, I just want to check with you. You want Soul specifically to mention what you said, or do you want to? Or are you just like discussing bringing that up later?
I was just thinking if when you're talking to them, if they seem receptive and they're talking about, making sort of military-like decisions about setting up the guards and all that kind of stuff, you could mention that at that point you could mention that we're also setting up a meeting with Tiny, one of your colleagues. But if it doesn't seem to fit, don't feel forced. Don't feel that you got to say something. It's just if the flow of conversation leads that way. I'm just trying to get a sense.
No,
for
I just want to know if you wanted discussion on what you are suggesting, or if you wanted Soul to bring it up if it seems appropriate.
Yeah. If they start talking about making arrangements and stuff like that, you could say, "Oh, by the way, one of my teammates is going to be talking to Tiny," and just see if they get any thoughts from that. Like I said, my plan with Tiny is probably just going to be to arrange regular meetings each day to sort of figure out what to do as we learn more.
Okay.
Okay, so Andrakii, you notice nothing. You notice there's people moving around. Vincent, what in particular were you trying to watch for about them?
Actually, I was thinking of just infiltrating their camp and seeing if I can overhear any sort of conversations going on. That might be of use or interest.
Oh, okay. If you're trying to set up like a stakeout type situation, I'm gonna have you make a stealth check first. And if you beat we'll make it a DC 18. I'll let you re-roll that perception check to see if it gets better, and you keep whichever roll is higher, as if you had advantage.
Okay.
So yeah, re-roll and keep whichever roll is higher plus 3 on account of the 20.
So, 15.
15. You still don't pick up a lot from this, but what you do pick up, when you notice Lord Craigle coming by his troops, he's always accompanied by the same 4 bugbears. One with red fur, one with black fur, one with brown fur and a bow that's always strapped to their back at all times, and another who seems to always keep themselves hooded, but from when you can see their hands, they appear to also be sort of just a darker brown black fur. But the four of them always seem to be with Craigle as if they were his personal guard. Beyond that, you notice most of the basic guards, as you begin to notice the different crests and where and rank insignia seems to verify, almost all of the highest ranking guards are bugbears, along with like 2 or 3 orcs. All of the lowest ranking are human or orc, and most of the attendees are human or half orc. Beyond that, the conversation mostly seems to be the fact that this has been days already. A lot of them are just, some of them are just happy that they don't have to do anything. Like, it's pretty easy work. There's not a lot to do. Others are complaining about, I've been standing guard on duty for like 22 straight hours.
Well, that could be good or bad, depending on if they're friends or foes. What was the name of the guy and the description of the bugbears, real fast?
Well, Lord Craigle, that's the leader. That's his personal guard.
Oh, okay.
Seem to be these same 4 bugbears that you notice every time.
Great.
And Soren, with that check, what does he know? Oh God, where? And he's from nowhere near here. Not proficient in history. With a negative. Well, let's see here. Let's see if he recognizes any of these symbols from things he might have come across. But the only thing he can piece together is larger bodies seem to be elevated in status, and smaller bodies seem to be demoted in status. Again, bugbears are extremely tall. Humans are extremely small by comparison. So other than that, he doesn't really seem to notice much difference about what's going on in their routines. So 3 o'clock. Saul, you go to your meeting with Miss Fawnhopper. Is anyone going with Saul? I can't remember.
Yeah, I'll go with Saul.
Okay. So the 2 of you go up. Bright smile on Miss Fawnhopper's face. Greetings, ladies. Just on time. Once you're at the desk, she steps out from behind it, gives Saul a big hug, and whispers as she does into your ear, "The meeting is set plus one other, Dwin. We will gather east of the prayer hall about 10 minutes into the woods today at 7. Sorry for the short notice. They agreed to wait until 8, including the time you meet. But Karen and Dwin have their duties to attend to and must be gone by that time no matter what." And she simply goes and gives Zin a big hug as well and repeats the exact same thing to you quickly.
Zen just kind of nods as she tells me that.
Then you do know the name Dwin. Actually, Saul, you do as well.
I do?
Yes. Saul, do you remember when you had to help Sybil track her first 3 targets?
Are you kidding me? Is Dwin that rogue that we stole from?
No, that's that's Dusty.
Oh yes, that was
This
the
sorry,
differently named.
this was your oh sorry, this one was your own first test. Do you remember the one the Dragonborn?
Oh, that guy, the jolly guy that does nothing.
Pretty much, yes. You know him as this happy, lovable, plays the shawm, which is like a clarinet, and cannot stand having like clean. If a puddle splashes on him, he immediately has to clean his foot. This is what you know of him. Zin, you have a slightly different understanding.
Oh no.
You know him from classes as he is your intimidation instructor.
Oh,
Wait,
fantastic.
intimidation?
Yes.
Intimidation?
Yep.
I feel like that's the wrong class.
And his name is what, sorry?
Dwin.
Dwin. Perfect. In my notes.
DWYN.
Oh, Y-N. Huh.
So, do speak to your fellow compatriots. As I said, time will be very short. Every moment lost will be lost from the available allotment. Okay. Unless either of you has anything more for this conversation, we'll cut to Quark and Quark and
Gargan.
Gargan meeting up with Tiny. So you two make your way over, and you see Tiny.
Oh wait,
Oh.
did I tell Miss Von Hopper about arranging leave?
We'll say you discuss it, and yes, she quickly fills out the form for you and just says, just sign there.
Yeah, okay, so I signed and we're done. Yeah.
Okay. Most people she makes do it all themselves and figure it out, but you're in good with her, so she takes care of it, makes sure it's filled out properly so you get approved. So, Quark and Gargan, you go off into the woods there. You see Tiny sitting up against a tree with a knife, trying to whittle a little carving that's about the size of his thumb.
And the size of half my body.
Yeah. He looks like he's trying to use a short sword as if it's a pin. Get the eyes just right.
All right. Well, I guess we approach him, wave as we maybe kind of call his name as we're sort of approaching, and thank him for meeting with us.
He puts the little piece of wood in his pouch and puts the short sword in with that, and stands up to his full 12-foot height.
Yeah, no, thanks again for meeting with us. We've been around the school for a while now, and you're clearly you seem to be one of the finest fighters the school has. And we wanted to share something with you if we could.
Me appreciate.
Yeah. Can we tell from his insignia what what his rank would be, or if he has other guards under him? Or?
Of what you can tell, of what you know of the guards, there is the guard captain, and all others are beneath him. But there doesn't seem to be a hierarchy beyond that. Just the captain is in charge of the guards, and everyone else is a step below him.
Okay. So I asked Tiny, if I can ask, how many years have you been working here at the college as a guard?
He looks at you a little confused, and you see him start counting on his fingers. 4, 3, and this many days. 3 months and this many days.
Oh, so for a few months now.
Yeah, you remember all the guards got hired on account of your fight in the mess hall.
Oh, well, we're happy to contribute to the economy. All right. And so as I'm talking to him, this is now just in my head. He doesn't hear this. I'm already realizing that he's probably not going to be able to, be helpful with some sort of sophisticated organizing. And I'm already learning that he doesn't have like a squadron under him or anything. But I think he would be, again, this is in my mind, I think he would be very willing to be as helpful as he could if he was given some sort of direct request. So I think for now, what I'm going to ask him is it, Tiny, I really, and I thank you for meeting with us. And I was hoping, would you be willing to meet us this time tomorrow? Because I need a little more information before asking for your help. And I think it would be fair to you if I really knew everything. I give him a gift for his time. What can I give him that would be not a bribe, but something he would like? Let's see.
Oh God, you really haven't cleaned out your backpack in a while.
Yeah. Let's see, what would he like? The bag of berries are rotted. The Danish scones are moldy. This is great. All right. Well, maybe I'll bring something tomorrow. So, yeah, I ask, would you be willing to meet this same time tomorrow, and maybe even again the day after, if I had some more information at that time for you?
Tomorrow no good. Can meet 2 days.
Okay, that'd be fantastic. I really appreciate that. And And please say hi to Jenny for us, and I hope she is well. And we'll meet up with you in 2 days, okay?
Okay.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you. Oh, I kind of turned towards Quark to see if he had anything he wanted to
Hey,
ask me.
Tiny, what's going on tomorrow?
Well, that's smart.
I have shadow duties. I have to shadow the Lord.
Oh, well, I hope you have good luck with that.
What did he say? He said, "Shadow the
Lord."
the Lord." Oh, do we assume he means Collingsworth? He said the Lord as in somebody's title?
I mean, did we guess so?
Oh, if it's appropriate to ask, Tiny, Lord who?
Oh, Lord Craggle.
Oh. Are you being asked to protect him or learn more about him?
Just make sure no one does anything stupid. Everyone has a day. Tomorrow is mine. My friend Ukla said it was boring, very boring. All he does is walk. Walk and walk and talk and talk.
That literally almost made me fall asleep.
Well, Tiny, this may seem a little odd for it to say, but isn't boring kind of good? It means there's no danger.
There's usually no danger, but when we do our rounds, we get to stop. And we
Oh,
get to
so
enjoy the quiet.
I understand.
Ukla said he did not stop talking for 12 hours straight. And he did not speak kindly. Talking about how him better.
Well, he does have status, so people with status sometimes, I guess, brag a lot.
Hmm. At least Red Paw be there.
Did he point at something?
No.
Okay. Well, if it's going to be a rough day tomorrow, I hope you treat yourself to something afterwards.
Yeah. Out of game, what did he say? Red Paw?
At least Red Paw will be there.
Do I know what he means by that?
Nope.
Red pot? RED space POT?
Red paw.
PAW.
At least Red Paw will be there. Who's Red Paw?
Oh, he's one of Lord Craigle's guards. He is funny. He tells jokes.
Okay, well, okay, tomorrow. Red Paw will be there. Now, here's a question. It sounds like Tiny's huge. Is he wearing any type of like cloak or tunic or anything like that?
He is wearing a giant suit of hide that looks to be made out of something similar to what you would expect a mammoth to be made of.
Okay. So big and thick enough for an exceptionally well-behaved owl to nest in, unseen by the outside world.
Well, it's not. He's trimmed it down. He didn't want wants to be able to get his hands around stuff.
Because I kind of turn to Quark and see if he kind of knows what I'm thinking. Would there be a way to have him sort of have the owl on his person without revealing it?
I'm just gonna look up at you and just like.
Are you asking him?
I'm asking you because I obviously I can't see him, and you're my eyes and ears right now. As I'm like looking at him,
I think
does it look
Gargan
like...
was more like kind of gesturing to the owl, and then up at Tiny, I'm like.
Yeah, because if Tiny had the owl, we would be able to pretty much have a sort of dash cam of his shadowing.
At the moment, since Tiny was sitting down or like just standing up, are there any other fauna on him at this time? Birds, squirrels, anything like that?
No birds or squirrels. You do see a couple of butterflies circling him.
Okay.
Could. Well, wait a second. Hold on, give me 1 second to look at this. I mean, it doesn't have to be an owl, right?
Awesome.
Give me 1 second. Because...
One sec.
Alrighty. Bat, cat, crab, toad, hawk, lizard, octopus, owl, poisonous snake, fish, rat, raven, seahorse, spider, or a weasel.
One sec. So, what actually is yours, though? Because it
What's
doesn't
that?
actually carry a beast trait. It actually has the trait of celestial, fey, or fiend.
What are we saying?
Your owl's not a normal owl.
Right. So what I'm trying to do is plant a little spy cam on
It's
Tiny.
more of a spirit creature.
Yeah. So let's see exactly what this would do.
No, which one of the three is it?
What do you mean?
Which one of the three is it that you summoned? Was it celestial, fey, or fiend?
Oh, the owl?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Wait, instead of a beast, though. Okay, wait. Appearing in an occupied phase of the range, the Fimea has the statistics of the chosen form, though it is celestial fee or fiend your choice instead of a beast. I see. I never even considered that. I just figured it was like an owl that really wasn't, truly alive, but appeared in other ways as an owl.
Oh, it's alive, all right.
Yeah. So.
And you can only communicate telepathically with it when it's within 100 feet of you.
Right. But I can also, as an action, make its eyes and ears be mine.
Still has to be within 100 feet of him.
So if we were 100 feet of him, could potentially, he could be, as long as I have free actions, could be my eyes and ears. For a while. So anyway, that's what I was thinking about. Is maybe maybe putting a little spider in that fur. Cork, what do you think?
That's what we're trying to find out. Are you going to summon a celestial spider, a fey spider, or a demon spider?
Yeah, I don't know. You have any recommendations? Like maybe a fey spider? Like I don't know what a celestial or fey spider, what the difference would be.
It's just what it would be, the type of creature that it would be found as.
Yeah.
If somebody were to inspect it.
Inspect it, right? Well, tiny is. Let's see. Oh, what the heck? What do you think, Faye?
Okay.
Quark, any thought? Because it sounds like you were more familiar with this.
I'm not really familiar. I'm just basically laying out the options.
Yeah.
Yeah. It actually doesn't say spider, does it? Oh, it does. Let me see here. Spider. And I'm trying to see if you're allowed to just switch it, or if you'd have to go through like the summoning of a familiar again to change what it is.
I think I probably would have to go through it again.
Yeah. So that would be an hour's casting time and the resources.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave ourselves about an hour for this meeting.
Cast the spell while you already have one. It cause it to adopt a new form.
Hold on, let's see.
Yeah, so it would just basically, your owl will just pop into becoming a spider.
Here we go. Guess spell you already have. Yeah. I guess we could try this, right?
Okay.
All right. So, Tiny, just real fast. When does your shadowing start, and where do you normally start those shadow rounds?
I think Ulok said 6 a.m.
6 a.m. in the morning, right?
Yes.
And it's 12. It's a 12-hour shift.
I guess.
All right.
Ulok said it was until dark.
Let me look one more thing. Yeah, I'm not. Let's see. The only thing is, I'm just trying to think of the utility of staying 100 feet of it, while blind and
While
deaf.
also you were informed that he's going to be walking all over
Yeah.
and over.
And over, and I would have to have somebody like
in
guide.
and out of buildings and
Yeah. All right, I have a feeling this won't work. So, all right. A thought occurred to me, but I wind up not. I make a determination. It's not. It's not going to be fruitful. And
Okay.
alrighty. And I guess when we meet Tiny, maybe we'll see what he learned and see what he can tell us.
Okay.
I got nothing else.
All right. All right, so we skip to 7 p.m. You're meeting up for in the dining hall. Actually, about 10 minutes to, I'm going to say Saul and Zin get there. Considering what they heard from their meeting. So yeah, 10 minutes. Everybody else roll a d10. We'll see how long we'll roll a d20, and this is how many minutes after that the rest of you arrive. I'll roll for Soren.
So you want everybody to do a d20?
D20, yeah. Well, no, you and Saul were there because you were at the first meeting.
Okay, that's why I was confused. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
My apologies.
All right, so Andraki, I'll get there just before 7. Gargan, need you to re-roll a d20 instead of a 12. Mark gets there just before 7. Gargan gets there at 10 after.
Can't believe you wasted a 20.
Vincent. I think Vincent's the last to go then.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So yeah, you arrive shortly thereafter. After those two, then Andraki and Quark just before 7. So we're up to 10 after by the time Gargan gets there to start making your way over. So Prayer Hall is right next door. Well, Prayer Hall is about about a 5-minute walk away, but then you have to go 10 minutes into the woods east of there. So it's going to take you about 15 minutes to get out there. So you guys have 35 minutes total for your meeting. As you approach, Miss Fawnhopper will come up, give Saul a hug, and looks in up and down. Dwin will go over and greet Zin. Karen will approach Soren, and anybody within earshot hears her asking if he's had any more lady troubles. Tobias leans against a tree, a little ways back, waiting for the real meeting to start. Miss Fawnhopper will clear her throat. Miss Riviera, I shared a vague detailing of what you told me, but if you and your comrades would like to share a bit more depth to what you saw, or any other questions you might have to assist. Oh. Anybody?
Saul, it's your party.
I don't think Saul's near her keyboard.
Or anybody else can step up if they have questions or ideas.
Are we all up to speed on what has been discussed?
Yeah, during your get together there, you would have been informed by Saul that she basically reiterated to the best of her knowledge and detail and recollection what she saw in the dreams, what basically you guys have pieced together in your own heads about what's going on, and basically a general outline of a lot, because a lot of this is you guys guessing.
Okay. In that case, let's start off with the biggest question out there. Given what we experienced, how much of it is likely metaphor and how much of it would likely be what the goddess thinks will come to pass?
Karen is the first one to speak up, and we'll just state the goddess does not usually speak in metaphors. And from what you said you saw during the Haltensoul festival did come to pass, it would be safe to say that something will occur during the solstice. Be it from the contingent from Long Tier or another entity that perhaps comes through the fire.
But based on the imagery, it's impossible to tell what, though. How much can you tell us about what the meeting with, or what the this whole meeting with Lord Craggle at the college is about?
Um, Erin just sort of shrugs. She's not really sure. Dwin will just simply state, Lord Collingsworth agreed to meet with Lord Craggle. I believe he wishes to open a similar facility to the college in Longtier, much like he saw raised in Herondal some time back by the Blackfin.
I see. So this is something that Lord Collingsworth invited him for.
Invited is a strong term. He agreed to the meeting for diplomatic means.
So Lord Craggle heard about the college, and Lord Collingsworth agreed to give him a tour, basically.
Yes, that would be one way to look at it.
So with that, I mean, in my limited knowledge of the world, either Lord Craggle's here to flex somewhat, perhaps knock us down a peg, so to speak, or, as you said, there's some other entity who doesn't want this to happen.
I do know only one thing. From the brief interactions that I've seen, Lord Craggle does not think much of Lord Collingsworth and vice versa. Lord Craggle, on numerous occasions since he's arrived, has referred to Lord Collingsworth as a racist. Although I wouldn't call it racist, I would call it nationalist? Lord Collingsworth lost his mother in the second rising of the Great War.
I see.
Lord Collingsworth saw his family's initial vast fortune nearly slaughtered to ruins during the First Great War that saw the contingent from Longtier burn Aladan to the ground before Alrazan was erected in its place. And the closest town in Longtier remains a mocking joke to New Hope. Be it Lord Craggle is not technically, I believe, a part of that, but Broken Hope is the closest town in Longtier to New Hope. Okay. So throughout all this, Tobias has just been leaning against the tree, watching this interaction go by. Anyone else have anything to chime in with?
So basically, what y'all dreamed is going to happen. You just don't know who's going to do it. So it could either be our guests, in which case telling them about it isn't going to help, or it could be an outside influence, in which case telling them might help the matter.
The only thing we can really surmise is that the goddess thinks it's going to be bad. So probably something bigger than what we experienced at the last festival.
Does this sort of thing happen at every festival?
Did not happen at the first festival. Did happen at the second, and this is the third major festival I believe that you have been present at the college for.
So maybe they ought have to stop having festivals.
Well, almost all of the festivals revolve around holy days.
Otherwise known as days when magic tends to be more unstable.
Or incredibly heightened or incredibly weakened.
So basically what I'm hearing is Lord Kraggles sounds like he's here for a mission of diplomacy of the ego, and that we should just be watchful for anything else.
About this time, Tobias pushes off the tree. To stand up straight, points at you, Quark, and motions for you to come over, and says, "Don't come over here."
I'll stand my ground.
Looks to Miss Riviera and says the same thing.
He said, "Don't come over there."
Correct.
Then yeah, I'll listen to him.
So you're staying put?
He wait. He said, "Don't come over there," but motion to come over.
Yes.
Go over.
Okay, yeah, I'll go over then. I thought he said to stay there and that was it. But if it looks like he's speaking backwards now.
Okay. As you get within 15 feet of him, make a Constitution save and a Charisma save.
God, okay. Maybe his actions did not just words. Constitution save and charisma. Okay. Yeah. Well, my con is bad, but charisma, at least.
Okay. For the next 4 minutes, you are unable to move. And with that, you remain anytime you go to speak, you are unable to tell the truth, but you can refuse to answer. You are able to simply not answer. As Tobias simply turns to you and begins to speak. Did you truly meet the Maiden of Bliss?
Wait. So I'm now unable to
Speak the truth.
tell the truth? And he's asking me a question.
Yes.
But so he motioned me to come over, but said, "Don't come over there."
Right.
Okay, and telling the truth has nothing to do about asking questions, right? So he's in this field too, whatever it is? Because this seems familiar to me.
You would guess, yep.
And saying the truth is wait, and I'm unable to move. Hold on a second. The soul know she cannot tell the truth right now? Is it like
Yes.
intrinsic knowledge or
And
okay?
yes, if you try and go to speak the truth, the words don't come out.
So soul is very aware of your situation. Okay.
Yes.
Can I roll an insight to check to see if Soul thinks Tobias is aware of what kind of effect she's under?
Sure. With that, you know it is definitely some type of compulsion.
No, that's not what I mean. From this feels like when I was picking out spells, I feel like this is a field of truth, field of lie thing. I remember there are two different spells for exact things to do with this. I just don't remember the exact details. So I have a feeling that Tobias is also included in this field, especially with the contrasting words and actions. What I want to know is the soul, in her assessment of the situation with all these details given, think that Tobias is aware of what effects soul is currently under. The fact,
yes.
Including the fact that he cannot tell.
Yes. You would believe that Tobias, considering you did look into researching that spell yourself, well, at least the opposite version, you feel that he definitely knows. And you also feel that he is affected by it.
Okay. Then the next thing I want to know is the soul. Is there like if there's like a range on the spell or situation or whatever thing she's under? Between it and the caster, because it doesn't seem like Tobias is the caster, is it? Or is he the caster?
You don't know for sure. Zone of Truth has a range of 15 feet.
Okay, so then it seems like Tobias is the caster. Then I would, and it's not that I'm forced to tell lies. It's that the truth just doesn't come out, right?
Yeah. If you choose to speak, you must lie.
Okay, then. God, this is so complicated. This is mind games about mind games. Then Soul would slowly speak the lie that they have not met the Maiden of Bliss slowly, like so that it's like deliberately thought about to be said.
Okay.
If I was able to move, at least I'd do opposite
Run.
actions, but
next he looks at you. What exactly did you see in the fire?
I actually don't remember that. Hold on, let me
What are the reactions of the others when Tobias did this?
You see Wynn's eyes narrow at him. Aaron looking flabbergasted, and Miss Faunhopper just with a grin.
Soul wouldn't say anything to that question. It's too complicated to explain in a lie.
Okay.
Can I tell what's happening to Soul?
Make an insight check. Nope.
Okay.
We're close enough to hear her, correct?
Yeah.
So she just denied that meeting the goddess, so we'd probably pick up on that, wouldn't we?
And then refused to answer any questions about what she saw in the fire. What have you noticed of the symbols on our visitors?
He's asking Soul that?
Yep.
Okay. I can't actually tell. I don't actually know. What is the truth here? What did we notice about the symbols?
The truth that you've noticed is nothing. You have not
What do you mean?
You have not recognized really anything other than the fact that you saw these same crests in the dream on the carriages that showed up before the fire.
Well, then I would say we have not seen these crests on the carriages before the fire in the dream.
Okay.
I would say that slowly too, like deliberately thinking about, just to make it obvious that something's weird going on, something inconsistent between my words and the word content.
Do you trust Lord Collingsworth?
Don't answer. It's a trick.
The thing is, so out of character. The thing is, Soul doesn't trust him, but she also does not trust him. Like, so, because, like, realistically, the college is Collinsworth's life's work. So, like, there is no reason for him to be doing something nefarious with the college. But at the same time, like, she doesn't personally know him at all, so she can't be a guarantor of his character or anything. And also, she's very aware of the multiple masks people wear when in presence of different people. So she would say nothing, I guess.
Okay. You can see that a frown comes across his face when you refuse to answer. Finally, are you able to kill another person, not a monster, to protect this place?
Soul would say she would lie, no. But the truth is that she would be willing to kill another person to protect the college. But she then would say the circumstances would never matter regarding who I kill for the college. Or basically, or something along the lines of that, just to make clear that the circumstances really do matter. It has to be conditional. She's not a murder hobo. She's gonna
Like
take into account the situation.
If your friends are gonna be killed by somebody, you would kill them, sort of thing.
It's
not a
not.
murder
Yeah, she's not
hobo,
gonna
she's
do
more
an
like
ask
a
no questions. She's not an ask no questions person. She would definitely question something, but if she agrees with it, she would definitely be willing to.
Okay. After that, he just sort of smiles and walks past her. And as soon as he's about 2 feet past her, he just turns back and says, "Not as fun as I had hoped, but enlightening."
Okay, now I'm confused. Can I make an insight to see if this is actually Tobias?
Sure.
Because I feel like this is both in character for him and so incredibly. Okay, no, that's not gonna tell me anything. Incredibly out of character for him.
He simply goes and looks at the rest of you and glances down at Quark and just says, "It would have been far more amusing to play with you, little one."
Start growling at him.
Is there a point to all that?
I was hoping to glean a few pieces of information that were not part of the puzzle.
Yeah, you could have just asked.
People are fallible.
I was going to say he kind of did, but
No, he couldn't.
People are prone to lies.
Wait, so was he aware that I couldn't lie? I mean, couldn't tell the truth?
Yep.
Okay, just making sure.
That's why he cast the spell.
Yeah, but the thing is, I ended up not being able to tell the truth.
Yes.
Oh, he was taking the opposite of
wanted-
everything that you said, almost.
The thing is that, like, half the reason Soul refused to answer half the questions was because the answers themselves were complicated to explain with lies.
Yeah. The two things he
So I feel like
really
he just
was
gave himself.
the two things he
yeah?
really wanted to learn are the two things you refused to answer. And he wanted to see
Whether I trust Lord.
whether you trust Lord Collingsworth and what you actually saw in the fire.
Oh, I thought it was see if she would kill somebody, but
Oh no, that he very much got the answer he was hoping for. That's why he smiled as he walked past her.
The thing is, I can't really. I know what I saw in the fire because I wrote it down, but like the
How do you say that as a lie?
what happened in there? What happened in there is a little complicated to explain with lies.
And especially out in the open.
Yeah. Which is why I'm like, I wasn't sure what to say, and thus I didn't answer.
Yeah. He was, like I said, he was very intrigued to see what he could really learn about you in your own psyche, and whether to basically confirm his own ideals of both you and the people around here. He also wanted to see what you actually knew about these symbols that are visible on the various individuals.
That's kind of why I wish I had passed the insight check.
Basically, he's just going to turn to you all and say, and Saul, you are freely able to move now.
Okay.
And as soon as you literally take a step 1 foot back, you are once again able to speak the truth.
Hmm. I am I'm still doubtful this is Tobias.
Question for the future, though.
Yeah.
If I had passed the insight check, would I have been able to use my nose ring to trade places with Saul?
One sec, I gotta remember what your nose ring does now. No, because it is only on an attack action, and there was no attack.
Okay. I just want to understand the nature of that particular ability.
Yeah, you could tell she was in trouble, but there was not technically
any malice towards
So
it, I guess?
any physical threat.
So if
Gotcha.
if there was a magical threat, if somebody else physically attacked her, he would have been able to use the nose ring.
Yes.
Good to know.
He simply looks over the group. Dwin is literally just following him with his eyes, and Dwin is not very happy about this interaction.
How much of that do we notice?
His eyes have become slits, and there's a permanent, his fangs are exposed, staring down Tobias. Not just with his eyes, his entire head is following him everywhere he moves.
Okay, so it's pretty.
Yeah, he is not being subtle about this. He simply steps over to Saul as well, and You did fine.
Soul gives Dwin as charming a smile as he could, and says, "That's appreciated. Thank you."
Nothing encourages loyalty like magically manipulating people. Vincent says before he hides.
Oh wait, actually, also, Soul tries to reassure Dwin. Like at this point, Soul is very expected about what kind of behavior she expects from Tobias. She was just doubtful this was actually Tobias for a second, because if someone else was trying to get information in Tobias's form, he would probably hate that.
All that we have learned from this is, collectively, you know nothing. Other than that the maiden believes that something catastrophic will happen here in the next few days.
Well, based on what happened at the last festival, doesn't seem that far a stretch to me. Or was it? Yeah, it was the last festival with the
Yeah.
undead, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, but the wards have been reinforced since then. That said, we know there are only two possible solutions. One, Lord Craigle is planning a coup. Two, Lord Craigle and his contingent are actually the targets of whatever malice is about to take place. And we were simply laid out as a convenient location. We need to know which one it is.
Well, I'd probably think that the raising of the undead might have been a test of the fortitude of the security around the college.
The undead were not simply undead. It is an army I fought 2 centuries ago that was laid to waste permanently then.
Wait, Dwin fought this army?
No, this is Tobias.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, certainly not as permanent as you hoped.
Or given the strange nature of what happened, they were summoned from the past.
And you see he smiles at Quark.
Given the method that we used to close the portal, I'm thinking that's what it was.
Time once was fluid, and now it is not. And there are far greater things than a fallen nation of pitiful elf runoff that should have never existed coming back.
Well, then there's only one other question on my mind. Why do you think the goddess chose our group to reveal herself, or to reveal the vision?
That I do not know. All I know is that the goddess guided me to her, And he points at Saul.
Okay, that's actually suspicious to me. Like that's strange, but okay. And Soul kind of points at herself and goes like, doesn't say anything, but gives a look that pretty much screams, "Me, me."
Do you remember the first conversation you had with him?
I don't remember it, but I'm fairly certain I wrote this one down. Hold on.
Basically, he spoke about Collingsworth and a handful of others have brought many students that they deemed to want at the college, and he decided that he was going to bring his own. And you are the first student in all his years of teaching that he has voluntarily brought to the college.
Oh, that's special treatment. But this explains a lot. Do you think the other professors that invited us to college had a similar revelation with their gods?
Not everyone was invited by the faculty. Some simply paid their dues to get in. And he simply points at Andrakei, Gargan, Quark, Zin, or had their way paid for them.
Well, my mother is an alumnus, so.
And you just see a big smile come across his face, and among other things.
Okay, that's suspicious. Someone asked him something about that.
Before he looks at Gargan and says, "While others are pet projects here to fuck the system." And he rolls his eyes and turns away. While others seek to earn Daddy's desire and love, glancing at Soren. And then glances at Vincent, and others are running from their past.
Or their future.
Which he smiles at.
Okay, now I'm genuinely curious. What's so special about Soul that she's personally invited to a college by a goddess?
Mm-hmm. And he glances to Andrakei, and some simply don't know who or what they are.
What do you mean by that?
Put 3 and 3 together. Now, considering we have wasted almost all of our time, something we are very short on, at least if time has returned to being fluid.
Anything you would like us to do?
Simply follow Lancel's instructions. Keep an eye.
Very well.
There are some curious individuals among the caravan, and some not so. At least from what I have seen. I shall be going. Felithia, do reach out if there is any more to discuss. Miss Turner, you are due back on shift. And Dwin, do as you please. And he walks away. Karen will simply excuse herself and say, Miss Faunhopper can reach me if needed. I have been following the instructions of watching them. And short of one clunky individual, and she just sort of pinches her nose and shakes her head, I have not noticed anything on two from the group for the most part. Unfortunately, I must leave for now. And she heads off, leaving the rest of you with Miss Faunhopper and Dwin.
So you okay, Saul? He didn't rough you up too much?
No, it's all fine. It's just
Miss Faunhopper will
strange
go and put an
experience.
arm around you and just say, Tobias simply enjoys his games.
I give Miss Faunhopper a smile and say, "Oh, don't worry, Miss Faunhopper. I've come to expect this sort of temperament from Tobias."
And you can see she looks around and goes, I have a feeling we will need to meet again. Based on what you've told me, it's safe to say that whatever occurs the evening of the 20th. Above all else, I think it is advantageous of us to meet the morning of the 20th to discuss any new information.
Sol glances around, looking to see if anyone objects. I'm going to take that silence as Rocky's agreement, and Sol nods at Miss Faunhopper and says, "That sounds like a plan, Miss Faunhopper."
He simply turns to Dwin and says, if here works for you, it'll work for me, and I can approach Karen for the same. I do not want to rouse Lancel just yet, unless we had more solid information. In this matter, I feel he would act rash.
So we shouldn't
Is
make a big
Lancel
sign.
Miss Collinsworth?
Lord Collingsworth, yes.
Yes, okay.
Miss Faunhopper,
Yes.
Tobias referenced that my mother was more than just a graduate of the college. Do you know what he meant?
And you can. Oh. One sec. I need Miss Von Hopper up. Yeah. All right. Make a persuasion check. That's your DC.
Persuasion?
Well, that's actually a pretty decent DC chance. Ooh, nice.
Okay. You can see her clasping her fingers, trying to think of how to put this. Tobias has a rather personal relationship with your mother.
Interesting.
Like he had a personal relationship with all of our paths.
Something I'll need to discuss when I go home during the holiday. Thank you.
I can only provide one piece of information towards that before you stir up a hornet's nest you may not wish to involve yourself in. While Nyx is a dear devotee to the Harvest Maiden now, he was not always so. When I first met her, she was a devout follower of the Maiden of Bliss.
Interesting. I appreciate that.
As for glancing around at the rest of you, turning to Zin, there was much correspondence that was sent when you and your cousin arrived. Turning to Gargan, and she just sort of waves a hand. We all know where you came from.
Wow.
It is well known who trained Gargan. And what that means around this place. She does look over Thorin and Andraki with a bit of questioning on what he meant by whatever she heard in that. Before turning to Vincent and simply going, snaps her fingers, and in your head you hear, After all, as the administrator of all the paperwork that comes through this place, I am privy to much information, except for a handful of things that go directly to Lord Lansing.
Criminy.
What was that?
Vincent said criminy.
She looked at Indraki with like interest or
Yes,
confusion.
it's a little bit of both. It's what he had to say about you and Soren is something that she did not have documentation of. So wherever he's come across this information, it's
Been a well
something
kept
that
secret.
yes, it's something that she now has an interest in.
Well, he had one thing wrong. It's not so much hiding as avoiding.
I would probably tell Miss Faunhopper if she wants to know what I know. I can tell her in secret because I'm not willing to divulge much information in front of a lot of people.
And she'll simply say, that could be arranged. It's Tobias is one who believes that while everything he does remains in the shadows, he feels that no one else should have anything hidden.
Even things that are hidden from themselves, apparently.
Tobias, during the war, was a much different man. But a few centuries can change that man.
You said Tobias is an elf, right?
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't remember what race he was.
Given that he's several hundred years old, I would say it's not too
The
many
most
choices
like,
there.
yeah. Yeah, I knew he wasn't human. I knew that. Unless he's a human that's like somehow like
Enhanced.
his lifespan by a lot.
As for you, and she turns to look at Saul again, all I knew about you was that you are the first student that Tobias has personally brought to this place. And that was enough to pique my curiosity upon seeing your name. Although your little friend, who left, was also of interest for how they got here. All went AFK, didn't she? Yep.
Good timing.
Win, unless you have something to add, I should probably be getting back. If anything comes up before our planned meeting, do have Miss Varia reach out to me. And I will make arrangements accordingly.
Of course, Miss Von Opera, thank you.
And she heads off. Dwin just sort of looks at the group and goes, I dislike games. I dislike surprises. And everything about this reeks of both.
I tend to agree.
Miss Rainmind, I will see you in class. If any of the others of you are interested in study, he pulls out his shawm and says, I am always around to teach. And he walks away and begins playing his shawm as he does.
What does he teach?
Intimidation.
He teaches intimidation, he teaches how to play the shawm, and he teaches performance.
That's how I first met him, actually.
Mm-hmm. What does Tobias teach?
He is the head instructor of Bardic Studies.
Gotcha.
So I was away for part of that conversation. So that guy literally just like what transpired from that pretty much just ended up hurting all of our feelings. Pretty much.
Not
He was
exactly.
flexing, he was trying to flex that he knows our secrets or our backgrounds.
Yeah, because all of a sudden I came back and it was like complete savage mode. I was like, wait, what is happening?
Also, for a moment, you were the focus of the conversation while you were away.
Was I really?
Yes. He simply pointed out that you, whereas not everyone got here through like special means, some of them simply paid the
Had
tuition and
mommy
got
and
in,
daddy. Yeah.
had mommy and daddy, or had it paid for in other means for you and your cousin.
Great. Can you go get the towel, please? Your hair's still really wet. Go get the towel, please.
You get the
Muted,
towel.
Zen.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
Don't tell me what to do.
A hanky should be enough. How hurt are these people's feelings?
Quite a bit, actually.
Right?
You're not my
Unless
mommy.
you didn't turn, please.
I didn't know my real parents.
Right? I was adopted. It's not my fault. Sorry, it's soaking
Actually,
wet.
that's true. 3 of you were raised by people other than your parents.
Right?
4 of you.
I was gonna say a lot of us are
5.
raised by people.
5 of the original members were raised by people other than their parents.
Adoptions are quite the trope, aren't they?
Oh no, not adoptions.
Collecting children.
Only 2 of you were actually adopted.
I'm playing a game while I'm just brushing your hair.
Ellie, you're not muted.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
No, she wasn't saying that she knows that she's not muted. She was saying, I know whoever's hair is getting mauled by her brush.
Oh, it's our daughter.
Yeah.
Me and Zen are actually real life know each other in a relationship.
All right. So, what is your plan for the rest of the evening?
Raw. Oh no, we didn't eat dinner, did we?
So,
Nope.
since you brought it up, just so you all know, if anybody ever comes around asking about me, you can just kind of not know where I'm at the time, if you don't mind. And then he's gonna wander off to go spy more on the camp.
And the mess wouldn't be open anymore, is it?
It shuts down at 9, so you guys can try and get there. You'll get whatever's left. It's not like they're going to be cooking anything at this time.
Oh no, I know that. That's pretty much what I would do, is just get something in me and then head back to my room.
Okay. Is that what everybody's doing?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Vincent, did you say you're going to go try and check the camp still tonight?
Yeah. I'm gonna try to sneak in and see if I can overhear anything.
All right. Give me one more stealth check.
It's the only thing I'm good at.
And give me one more perception check. Maybe you should have gone during the day.
I have excellent dark vision.
Not good enough.
Excellent excellent out to 10 feet.
I gotta work on my perception.
Kind of hard to do. Gotta crank up that wisdom.
All right. So,
Before tomorrow, I'll send a message this evening to Martin.
okay.
Just let me know when. Or I can tell you now what it is, and then we can send it whenever.
Yeah.
It's less than 25 words. Bliss goddess appeared, warned of massive attack during Craggle visit. We warned Fornhop, Tobias, and Karen. They seem concerned as well. Any insight?
All right. I need a notepad to make sure this is less than 25 words.
It's 20.
Oh no, the answer.
Oh, the answer. I'm sorry.
Like, would I be able to try to sneak into the general's tent and see if I could find any documents or anything?
It's not really a tent. He's Lord Kreigel is staying in the admin building.
So I need to sneak into the admin building.
Yes, you need to sneak into a magically sealed building home to Lord Collingsworth and the rest of the staff as well. All right. So it takes a minute or two, but Gargan, you get this response back. If Ferithia is involved, anything goes. Trust Tobias as far as you can throw him. Sharp eyes, sharp ears. Find the truth. Patience is key.
Can you repeat that and spell the name?
Yeah. If Ferethia is involved,
Ferifia?
yes.
F.
Wrong tab. There we go. Feiritha.
And have we ever heard this name before?
Some of you have. You might not have.
Okay, so if Ferithia is involved,
Anything goes. Trust Tobias as far as you can throw him. Sharp eyes, sharp ears. Find the truth. Patience is key.
I read the note and I'm thinking how many words he wasted with as far as you can throw him, and just crumple the paper.
What was this name that that you didn't seem to know immediately?
Ferithia.
Gotcha.
But then it means anything goes, so it's not particularly helpful.
I would recommend looking at the chat in the game there.
What did I miss? Oh, Miss Ferithia. Got it. Now we know her first name. Nice. All right. Thank you.
All right. So, grabbing food, getting back to the dorms. We'll say you get back there by 9:30. Hours gets us up to there, so... Oh, one sec. I need to bring up... What the... I need this. All right, let me see if that took care of doing everything it was supposed to. Yep, okay. So yes, you'll get through your long rest. You all get your spell slots in that back. It looks like it went through this time on its own. For my readers, I
was going to say, could I have logged 2 hours reading before I went to bed?
Yep, I was just doing that. I was just going through and updating.
I would definitely be reading as well.
Yep.
I gave back my book the other day. I remember.
And Drakei?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You're continuing on this one. Okay. Okay. And Vincent.
Reading my radiant salutation in the morning.
Yeah. Vincent, that's a book, right? That you have?
Sorry, what was that?
Yes. Yes. I was trying to remember if I thought you had a book, and I was then trying to figure out, wait, is this a book or is this something else?
Yeah, I had a book on
Yeah.
persuasion.
Yeah.
Which he'll be reading after he's done sneaking.
Yep. All right. So you all get through to the long rest, get through to the morning. So you have 3 days until you meet up in the morning with Miss Fawnhopper and everyone again in the woods. Beyond some time spent in classes, what is everyone planning to do?
Well, I assume we're meeting for breakfast.
Yeah.
I thought it would be maybe a good time for us to sort of collect our thoughts, or collate our thoughts from the meeting with each other. I actually, for most of it, didn't realize I was actually there, so it probably wasn't going to say much. But I also want to use that time to share what Martin said.
And what did Martin Foley say again?
Yeah, I'll tell him what he said. Well, hear the direct words, and then kind of, it says, if Fawnhopper's involved, anything goes. Trust Tobias as far as you can throw him. In a shorter version, keep alert and find the truth. Based on what...
Doesn't sound like new information.
No, it it doesn't. And so
he's someone a few hundred miles away trying to give advice on a 20-word conversation that went one way.
Yeah. Using as far as you can throw him. So, I'm based on our first meeting with them and this.
Well, given what he did to Saul, I wouldn't mind using him as a scratching post, but...
You wouldn't mind trying to throw him to see how far you could trust him?
I mean, the scientist in me would agree with that.
He's, I suppose, technically Saul's mentor, so...
I guess what I'm saying is I'm getting the sense, we may not be able to, directly catalyze some sort of, planned response. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But it sounds like we may have to be sort of more sleuth-like and, for instance, get information from Tiny tonight, or is it tomorrow night or tonight?
Tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon.
From Tiny tomorrow afternoon, and then maybe start, I don't know, eyes and ears to the ground more, as opposed to this, more of a war room type situation. What do you guys think? What do you guys gather from the meeting so far?
Well, I mean, they gave us more information than I expected. But it's still, we don't know much. Now, with me, I'm more of a doer than a thinker. So,
I mean, if you really want to get more information, we could just make a big, huge sign saying, "Beware the 20th. We're all gonna die," and hang it off a building and get a rumor starting and get people talking. And if there are already nefarious people in the in our campus, then maybe they'll start making moves to silence that.
yeah, and that would likely turn you into security's favorite plaything for the next week.
Well, if they see you doing it.
I mean, honestly, after classes, I was going to stretch my legs by doing a perimeter survey of the college campus, just to see if I noticed anything weird.
Do we notice anybody that's not normally in the cafeteria in there? I.e., like one of the squires or...
Oh, make a perception check.
Okay. Nope. Wrong tab.
At 8 a.m. You notice 3 such individuals that seem to be going about not so much eating themselves. They appear to be gathering like plates and bags of buns and stuff to take out of the dining hall. You could surmise that it's either they're being sent to go fetch food for the troops or take it for some other meeting.
Okay. I'd probably point that out. There's a group of them that are seemingly taking food out of here. And that maybe be a little bit quieter discussing this. Because I don't know how close they would be to us.
I would assume that I wouldn't say anything where potential enemies would hear me.
How much food do they seem to be gathering out?
You saw a bag of rolls that you saw them stuff rolls into. Good sized bag. They've got a couple of plates and bowls of stuff. It's the 3 of them together are carrying probably 3 plates, 4 bowls, and
no huge quantities. So no huge quantities.
Not really, except for the bag of bread.
I would probably, while they're leaving, I'd probably excuse myself and head out of the cafeteria. Trying to see if I can figure out where they're going.
Okay.
Oh, and Saul?
Is she back?
She did say she can only listen, can't talk or type for a bit, so she might.
Okay.
Oh, there she's typing.
That's fine. I booked us both horses for the 26th, so you don't have to worry about getting that together.
Yeah, he's probably ecstatic that you didn't mention my name.
All right.
Well, then I'll head off to my normal classes for the day.
Okay. Okay.
Now, is
So,
it pretty obvious where they're going?
you see them making their way. Are you following them?
Yeah, but not looking like I'm not going to try and look like I'm following them. I'm going to make it look like as if I'm heading towards a class, or if they're heading towards a dorm, look like I'm heading towards my dorm before class. If it's heading towards like the Melee Crystal or something, which is still not open, so me heading towards that would look suspicious.
You see them head out the door. As you get outside, they have turned left to go along the admin building towards over to where the stable entrance is. And they go just a little ways past that. You can see a handful of tents where some of the lower ranked staff appear to be staying, or
Makes
lower
sense.
ranked members of the caravan.
Do I recognize any of these people? Like,
Not really. You watch as they hand out the plates to a couple of orcs who seem to be a little bit better. Their armor looks to be a little bit more well cared for than the others. They hand out the bowls to,
i.e., knights and then squires.
A goblin and an orc and two half orcs who seem to at least be in leather armor, whereas everyone who gets the bread seems to be just in plain clothing.
Okay.
Including the three of them.
Okay, so that's pretty much their little camp that they have set up then. So I don't know. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot his name just now. The squire that I met in the library is not over there? He'd be the only one out of them that I would recognize if he is there.
Make a perception check.
Okay.
Because you're trying to do this like nonchalantly while you're looking at people from like the edge of a building at a camp that they're sitting in.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't notice nothing. That's another two.
There's a lot of bodies over there, and most of them are just wearing the same shirt.
Okay, then I'd probably head to class, whatever classes I have coming up.
All right. Anyone after their classes looking for anything in particular that they're trying to keep an eye out for?
Well, for me, any sort of, how can I put this? Marker, totem, anything that could have been set up on the perimeter of the college, something that would seem out of the ordinary. I mean, I know the druids probably do stuff, but something unnatural to what would be in the flora around the perimeter.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the druid set stuff up by this point, how long we've been here, you would notice normal stuff that they would set up, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else looking for anything in particular?
Yeah, I'll spend a little more time than usual around the wizard tower.
In in between classes in Drake, I would probably keep an eye out to see if there were any of them that are look like they're kind of off duty, not really doing anything, that I could probably approach and talk to them. If they're not sitting in their camp, because clearly from that one guy, they have some sort of freedom around the campus, right?
Some, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would spend a little more time than usual around the Wizard Tower, maybe going up into it, browse the Wizard Tower shop, and just kind of look for, strange or new activity, or maybe just pick up conversations, that sort of thing.
Okay.
I'm going to continue infiltrating the camp, seeing if I can pick up on anybody discussing things of importance.
Figured I'd check and see if Saul had listed anything that she was doing. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So Quark and Drakei Gargan. Soren will just be looking for anything strange. And that DC will be very high because I don't know what exactly he would want to look for. All right. So Zin, Saul, and Vincent. What exactly are you looking for?
Well, I figure if there's any shenanigans going on with our orc and owl bearbug fellows, somebody would be talking about it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
So they're basically just trying to listen in on conversations of just general chatter.
Yeah. And places inside their camp where maybe they wouldn't be as suspicious of outside ears.
Okay. Zin and Saul.
I think I would just try to find somewhere that is a little more occupied with people and kind of pretend like I'm reading my book, but trying to see if I hear anything is eavesdropping. So I pick a separate area.
For me, I would do I have a reputation for gossip at this point?
Yes.
I would hope so.
Then I would follow that route. Yeah, but it's a reputation for anything would take time to build, and it's like how far that spreads is also different too. Some reputations about a person can spread within a couple days, but others take a little bit more time to like build up.
It would exist. It certainly could get better.
If we're given better for this type of thing. But anyway, since people consider gossip something that's expected of my personality now, I'll just follow that route and use it as a thinly veiled cover.
Okay. So
Bard doing Bard things.
We'll start with Quark. Give me a nature check. Nice.
That blade of grass is out of place.
I'm going to have you roll a second check now. Make a survival check with advantage. Survival or investigation, your choice. So you did note that it's not so much that something was out of place, you noted that there was a few branches that were pulled awkwardly on some of the trees and bushes near their camp, and you realize they've set up some ropes that seem to be in place, almost like to set a perimeter a distance back.
Does it look like I've tripped anything?
Not that you can see.
Okay.
And Drachii, give me a perception check.
Sure. Come on. Give something good.
You don't notice anybody that seems not to be extremely busy that's away from the group today.
Okay.
Gargan, give me a perception check. Perception or investigation, your choice, actually.
All right. Well, yeah, definitely we'll go with investigation.
I was going to say that's an easy one.
That's an easy one. But no less.
No.
We can't rescue that.
No, that doesn't seem to be nothing seems to be going on there.
Oh well.
Nothing to see here. Move along. Okay. Okay. Soren will have something to report back to you all. Zin, for what you're trying to do, give me a stealth check first. We won't count your armor because it's basically just trying to cover your eyes as noteworthy. And So it wouldn't have mattered anyway. They both were terrible. All right. So you are not well hidden in your attempt to be stealthy. But make your perception check. We'll see if it can overcome the odds.
Zen, you're holding the book upside down.
Two things that you would be able to pick up through this. You don't really gain much from trying to eavesdrop on the chatter of your visitors. You do catch the odd bit that what they call the contingent, Kreigel and his contingent, which you would assume this would be his core group that's traveling with him everywhere he's going. It's like every single day he is emphasizing and just belittling everything to do with Collingsworth. Mocking the way he does things, mocking the way he constructed things, mocking the way the entire school is run. And many times he references Collingsworth as someone who he now views as having low intelligence.
This coming from a guy that's surrounded by orcs all day.
Saul, give me your investigation check. Let's see how the gossip ring is doing.
That's pretty good.
Okay. Your gossip ring comes back with a piece of information that Soren himself saw and was going to tell everybody about. A number of these so-called orcs who seem to be in heavier plate armor, they notice that they walk with limps or walk awkwardly, and a number have actually pointed out that when they actually got a closer look, these are actually in these clunky armors appear to be groupings of 3 to 4 goblins standing on each other's shoulders, working in tandem to represent the meat of some of the guards.
Wait, you're saying the majority of the orc guards are
Not the
actually
majority.
goblin guards?
There's a lot of the orcs are just simply in chain shirts. But the heavier armor ones, a lot of them have actually been noticed that they're actually a bunch of goblins stacked up on top of each other to prop up the weight of the armor to make it look like there's some bigger bodies around them.
So the heavy armored orcs are several goblins in a trench coat.
Basically, yes.
Or several goblins in full plate.
More so, yeah.
I will definitely mention this to the rest of the group.
And Soren will be able to corroborate that he has personally seen this when one of their arms fell off. And then they had to bend over and pick it up with his tiny hand.
That doesn't seem very practical.
There's only about, you'd say there's only about 5 or 10 of these things that are running around like this. The majority of them are orcs in chain shirts, chain mail, scale mail, and then the 4 bugbears that are always with Kregel, and a handful of lesser ranked bugbears that are almost exclusively in studded leather. Vincent, give me a stealth check.
So I also have hidden sense, which basically within 60 feet allows me to detect a hiding spot where I can't be detected unless somebody's actively looking for me and I'm in their line of sight, or they have magical means of detection. I don't know if that would increase my odds of overhearing things.
I'm still going to have you roll it, but I'll have you roll it with advantage and add +2. Because I'm not sure how close to the camp you're trying to get this, and
I'm trying to get into the camp, like as deep into the camp as I can. Maybe even find out what the orcs are all eating.
okay. Yeah, make a stealth check. Make an investigation check. No advantage or anything here. Okay. Step 1, you made it into the camp. Step 2, you did not manage to set off any of these tripwires that you spotted at the last minute. And getting up a little closer, you realize that you're not sure what they trigger to, but it's not like there's a tripwire. There is a tripwire followed by a tripwire under it the other way, and trying to get in too close to the camp, except from this one path that everyone seems to walk to head on towards where the open tents are facing, seems to be covered in almost a minefield of these little tripwires. You get about as close as you can safely. Make a perception check.
Of course.
Yeah, I think you're just a little too distracted by questioning what do these strings go to. Especially when a wind blows and you just watch one of them sort of waver a bit and you're worried that the wind might have just set these things off. If they're tied to anything, because you can only see where they are. You can't see where they end up at either side. You're just like, okay. But yeah, this gets you up until you gather back up to eat. So yes, from your investigations here, if you're gathering back up and repeating this, Quark, the ropes seem like more specific, literal trip wires meant to trip somebody. In hearing this, you realize there's probably smaller, thin cords that were tied around as well. Sort of.
But I didn't feel any that I had tripped anything.
You did not believe that you set off anything.
Okay.
And Drakei, you had nothing to report. Gargan. The Wizard's Tower seems to be more focused on their studies. There's idle chatter about why these guys are going to be here for so long. They feel like this could have been like a 1 day or 2 day trip. But then again, they did travel like 30 days to get there, so making it a 2 day trip might have been a little pointless. Then, yes, you and Soren are both able to report on your discovery of that some of these heavier clad individuals are actually a bunch of goblins working in tandem. Vincent, like I said, you yourself didn't spot much, but what you were able to piece together from that, you did not set off any of the tripwires, but you were able to basically confirm for Quark what some of this is and why it seemed like the trees and branches were, and the floor, the bush from the floor were bending in weird ways that didn't even match up with the way the rope was pulling in some cases. That there must have been much thinner other wires going to some things.
So it's some sort of trap net.
Well, I could go back out there tonight and see what happens if I dismantle one.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't, but I would.
I'm sure you would. Is it just me, or does the sophistication of their perimeter seem to be a little more than
what you would expect from
what their force seems to be? Because I mean, this is the type of tripwires that they're using. I would have expected from, like, not so much as somebody of your skill set, but more of like druid or a shaman would set up.
You're talking about the tripwires, or
yeah.
So it is not. It's simply tied into a bush,
right?
Like somewhere towards the stem. It's not like it's part of the bush. It's
no. I
it
get
is
it.
just.
I get what
but
you're
it's
saying.
just incredibly thin.
Mm-hmm. So knowing that some of their forces are hidden in the armor, how big of a unit do they have here now?
Let's see here. You would put it at. Including the servants or whatever they are, you want to call them, there are probably about 50 to 80. It's hard to say. But if you immediately take some of these orcs that were in plate and then multiply them by 3 or 4 into goblins, it could easily be up to 100. But it's hard to say because you're not sure how many of those there actually are.
Right. What's the approximate population of the college?
Once upon a time at the start of the semester, it was staff and students, janitors, kitchen staff, everything would have been around 3,500.
Yeah,
After the after the exodus of the freshman class after the first month from failing their tests, after the mass exodus, after the events of Halt and Soul, there is probably about 900 to 1,200 total.
Gotcha.
Currently.
And did anybody notice any obvious casters in their group? Anybody praying, anything like that?
Not anything that was obvious to what you all saw, nor from the information that came through from the gossip ring.
Gotcha. So, all in all, a relatively standard large caravan.
Yeah.
With a little extra pomp that wasn't noticed initially.
Isn't
Be
really
that to hide their numbers, or be that to simply make it look like they're a little bit more formidable than what they actually are.
Which
Yeah,
wouldn't be
like a little more. It looks like a little more like higher quality than what their real numbers are.
which wouldn't be that crazy, seeing as they're escorting a leader of the country. Like, you probably really want to protect your leader.
Yeah, the fact that he's resorting to this kind of says something about him.
It could just be puffing up his chest, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like I said, it's give or take to get where they came from. You're looking at this was somewhere between 20 and 35 days travel to get to the college.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to protect this caravan through the desert.
Oh yeah, no, that's not what I was saying. It was just I doubt that the goblins would have been in that armor while they were traveling through the desert. That just wouldn't have been practical.
No.
This is something that they basically came up with once, they passed through probably Alrazen.
Yeah, before they got to the college, just to seem as a more formidable force than. No offense, than just a bunch of goblins running around. Until you find out that there are a bunch of goblins, and it just seems silly that they're all in armor.
And then pretty much the last thing, I'm gonna lean in a little bit to the table. Does it look like this group would be able to cause the calamity that we saw?
People that are stealthy enough would be able to set quite a few fires.
Yeah,
especially if they're small and harder to detect.
but
Yes.
this is a school to train adventurers and warriors.
Yeah, what's more adventurous than putting out flyers? Unless
Well,
you're
I don't
stealing
know.
them. Stealing them might be more adventurous.
well, they do have a few
It,
days. They could be
it
making.
seems like there's something more going on here.
Well,
And
Right, but if you stir up the awareness, it'll maybe bring something to the it'll cause if there's any nefarious actors in the camp, it might cause them to take action.
pretty much going back to what Tobias said, I think it's more likely that Lord Craggle is the target, not the instigator.
It's possible. It
He's
wouldn't change.
away from his stronghold in foreign lands,
it
and
would.
he seems to have a weaker force than what it appears.
And if anything were to happen to him while he's here, it could incite a war.
Exactly.
Right. So the more people that know something might be coming or suspect it might be coming, the better prepared they would be.
Now, the real question is, would the blade come from within or from the outside?
And if it's coming from within, putting out those flyers might expose the bad actors. And if it's coming from without, at least people will have it in the back of their minds.
Or it could be the spark that ignites the flame.
Well, it's already going to happen on the 20th either way.
Well, we know something's going to happen.
The fire could be more metaphorical than
Keep in mind,
literal.
this is something that we could start ourselves inadvertently.
Then it would have been something that the goddess would have wanted us to start, since she gave us the vision that caused our actions.
Which means the smartest play is just to stay observant at this point.
I vote for putting out flyers. I can even toss them in the camp, in their camp.
Well, I think we should at least let Tobias and Miss Faunhopper know what we found.
Aren't we supposed to not trust Tobias as far as we can throw him?
Yes, but...
And considering how he treated one of our companions, I'm not inclined to trust the fellow either.
And this has nothing to do with trust. It's about garnering his trust.
Trust is a two-way street.
Agreed.
And when he's using magic to manipulate one of our companions, that's not very trustworthy, in my opinion.
Like I said, I too would like to turn him into a scratching post, but for the moment we have to work with him.
It doesn't mean we have to tell him everything that we're doing.
He seems to know a lot without being told, so
we don't need to tell him.
Meaning concealing something from him will cause him to distrust us more.
yeah, it would raise his ire.
If he knows I'm doing it.
Okay.
I know you're good, but I don't think you're that good yet.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
So, are we going for telling Miss Faunhopper? Are we going to wait until the next meeting, or are we going to try and tell her sooner? Because she seems to be out of everybody the most trustworthy, because she's very trusting of soul and Zin. And she did set up the meeting.
She's also in a position to distribute the information more efficiently than we can.
So are we waiting for the next meeting, or try and divulge what we can right now? Privately, of course.
Well,
What are
I-
everybody else's thoughts?
I thought it was interesting when Tobias sort of motioned come here but said don't come here, and then altered the spell, which easily could have just been forced the person to say the truth, right? Force them to not be able to say anything but a lie. I was wondering if anybody else thought that was going on is that he knew he was being listened to, and
no,
and
it just shows that he was under the influence of his own spell.
And he likes to play games.
interesting.
Oh.
Okay, no, I
Could
want to
have
hear.
been a test to see how you lie under distress. How quickly you come up with it.
Because the first thing I thought of was when he motioned come here but said don't come here. I was thinking, maybe he thinks there's somebody overhearing him and didn't want to be heard to say come here and didn't want any truths to be said out loud. Because he could have the spell typically calls for is forcing the person to tell the truth.
Yes.
But you guys
And the
don't.
reason I didn't obey him because I didn't want to walk into a trap.
Right.
So if he was that concerned, I'm sure with his knowledge and ability, he could have brought us to a place where nobody could overhear our conversation. Instead of freezing our partner here and casting that spell.
Well, Zin, what do you... Or Soul, sorry. What do you think? Seeing as we're all talking about her, perhaps we should get her opinion on the matter.
Did you say Soul?
Yeah. Sorry, I said Zin
Oh.
first, and then I was like, oh no, wait, it was Soul, not Zin.
Soul's mostly silent on this conversation. She's listening and agreeing. She doesn't really have any big opinion on this.
Now we're all just staring at her, waiting for her to give her opinion.
Don't do that. Seriously, don't do that. She just mostly agrees. The points that have been discussed have been comprehensive enough for her.
But we have like different opinions.
Yeah, but like the point is that like when you view a problem from several angles, the angles are different enough. She doesn't have any one way or another opinion. She's neutral on the matter.
Oh, okay. She's just being an aloof elf.
In that case, I think we should.
I wouldn't put it that way, but
She's like, in 100 years,
this
isn't going to matter in 100 years anyway.
In that case, I think we should inform Ms. Fawnhopper and let her decide whether or not to tell Tobias.
Yeah, we can leave it up to her. That's true.
Okay. On that note, I think we're going to call it. We're going to call it there for this week.
Yeah.
Remember, we are off until the 7th. Because in 2 weeks it's Easter, and I will not be here. I will
Cool
leave
with me.
the server up for you all to make notes if you need to.
What is Easter the 7th?
No,
It's
the
the
31st.
31st.
Oh, okay.
That's why we don't play that week, and we play on the 7th instead.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody, have a good night. If anybody needs me over the next couple of weeks, just reach me on Discord, and I'm available most days for at least a little bit.